right, we are rolling. We are here at our Harlem Pinkerton Notes for Notes studio. And we're starting a very special series today with one of our teenagers, Henry, and we have another guest as well.
My name's Geraldo Marshall. I'm one of the producers for Notes for Notes. I'm usually at the Navy Yard site, but today I'm at Harlem. I'm really excited. Really excited.
So, yeah, we're going to be jumping into a video game series. Specifically, this first series is going to be all about the Tekken games. And Henry is very knowledgeable on it. So, Henry, what got you into Tekken?
Well, I would definitely say that what got me into Tekken was that I remember one of my friends got me into the series. I normally would go over to his place and he would have this PS4 and he had this game known as Tekken 7. I told him what was about the series and he was really into the fighting games and stuff. We ended up picking, our characters that we found to be cool looking, and we mostly went matches. Mostly I lose some matches, but I also did win some of them as well because I was very into, I think, probably into Street Fighter, and when I saw like Akuma being in Tekken 7, I was just wondering, oh, wow, he's a guest fighter or something. And it further just increased my knowledge into Tekken because I really did like it. And then during around September 21, during PlayStation State of Play on September 13, I got to see Tekken 8's reveal trailer, and we got to see the gameplay. We were really excited for that, and I'm glad that, we got to see the final game come out this year. And then that's pretty much how I got into Tekken. I went back all to the previous games and started looking at these characters and going about their history.
So you started with Tekken 7 and then got the reveal for 8 and then went backwards. And
Yeah.
started figuring out what games. What made you... So did you go back? Is that why you have the PS1? So
Well-
Henry carries around sometimes his PS2 and his PS3. And did you bring your PS1 at all or no?
I don't have a
None.
PS1
Oh,
yet.
you don't have one. Okay. So yeah, Henry brings them to the clubhouse and plays Tekken, old school Tekken games in the teen center. But Tekken 1, going back to Tekken 1, if you're going all the way back, tell me about Tekken 1. What is the history and what is like the gameplay? How does it differ? But like, tell me about 1.
Well, the first Tekken game, Bandai Namco had a specific director making the game. Well, the whole game went normally. It's about this guy named Kazuya Mishima, who is the son of Heihachi Mishima. Apparently, Heihachi wanted to throw him off of a cliff because he felt like he wasn't worthy enough to fulfill the name of the Mishima, like be the head person of his business. So he threw Kazuya off of a cliff at the age of 7 or 8, and when people heard about this, I'm just wondering, what is this? Like, I didn't know it would be that crazy.
What a story.
And so after 20 years of Kazuya managed to survive the cliff fall, but after his 20 years of practicing and training and becoming the best that he could possibly be, he was able to defeat his father in the King of Iron Fist tournament. Oh yeah, fun fact, the name Tekken actually means Iron Fist in Japanese.
Oh, for real?
Oh, wow.
That's
Okay.
why it's called the King of Iron Fist tournament. That's why.
Oh, I had no idea.
Okay.
I guess I never thought about the actual. It was just
Yeah.
a video game name in my head, but it's got to have some history. You know what I mean? So, who's your favorite player to play with in Tekken?
Well, I guess for Tekken, I definitely would say it would be Devil Jin from the newer games. But if I was talking about Tekken 1, I would just say it's Kazuya himself. I think he plays pretty good for the first game. I would say
we were playing Tekken 3 right the other day. Is that the same player? that you were
no.
playing with?
I was playing with Jin,
Got you. So Tekken 1 was who?
Kazuya.
Got you.
Yeah,
Do you-
Tekken 3 was where I started on Tekken 3. I'm not even sure if I played Tekken 1 or Tekken 2
Because
Same.
because it was on PlayStation 2,
yeah,
right? Tekken 3.
Yeah,
But Tekken 1 is on what system?
Yeah, it's
PlayStation?
on. Yeah, Tekken 1 through 3 is all on the PS1. And if you want to play on the other games like Tekken 4, 5, or the others, you have to get either a PS2 or a PS3 to play them now.
Got you. So, what player do you hate playing with or don't like playing with on Tekken 3? Which one can't you play with? Like,
I mean,
doesn't work.
For me specifically, I would say it would be probably Paul Phoenix or so. I feel like his moveset isn't really fit for me specifically because it's all about trying to put in a specific inputs in order to be able to, land strong attacks. But I feel like some of the inputs are very difficult to use.
Is he a puncher or a kicker?
A puncher mostly.
Got you.
And I pretty much think that the character I find the most annoying to play with would probably be Yoshimitsu. He's like a swordsman. He's a swordsman that's all about, just giving to the people in the world. That's all.
Okay, cool.
Is Kazuya in Tekken 1, is he like a more well-rounded character? Like, is he
I mean, I guess so, but probably I would say that, yeah, he's a more well-rounded character. I mean, Kazuya throughout the starting part is good, and then his father Heihachi's also like the same as him because they both have like the same kind of moveset.
mm,
What else? What else do you think about Tekken 1?
Well, I would say that at the ending part, like Kazuya did eventually defeat Heihachi, his father, during the King of Iron Fist tournaments, and eventually he did do the same thing like his father did. Like he threw him off of a cliff, and
he
then
threw his father off the cliff?
yeah, Kazuya did the same thing to him after 20 years later. And then the craziest thing is that he throws a huge smile at the camera saying that I did it. I finally got my revenge. And then it's just that when the music is playing, it just sounds like a peaceful music. Like he actually got his revenge. That to me was just really funny. And my friend and I go back sometimes to think about it nowadays.
Good revenge story is good, especially movie-wise, but also video game. That's like that's what makes a good video game, kind of across the
revenge?
board.
Yeah,
Yeah,
revenge.
yeah.
Revenge is great.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Plot, like motive for a character.
Yeah, yeah.
But then it's like what happens. I mean, I guess we'll get into that, but like after he gets his revenge, like what do you do next?
Yeah. Is that the launch to 2? Or is that... or is
Yeah,
it-
that's the launch to 2.
Got you. So if we stick on 1 and PlayStation 1, you have a PS1. Or no, you don't have one, you said.
I don't have one yet. I play it
Are you-
on the PS3 with rollback.
Got you. You were telling me and Geraldo last week or earlier this week that you want to collect all the gaming systems. So are you trying to get a PlayStation 1?
I think so, yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't mind playing PS1 games on my PS3 because I can be able to hook it up with an HDMI cable and just play them.
Got you. But do you want a PS1? Just to
Mm,
have it?
I guess so, yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
I don't mind one.
What was the name of that shop that you went to where you bought Tekken 3, where you showed us the other day?
Well, I went to the place called the Retro Game Cave. It was my very first time going over there for a bit because one time I went there, it was a bit too early and it wasn't open yet. And so when I went back home, it was fully open, like probably around 1:30 or so.
Yep.
So I figured like on Sunday I would just go over there and just go see what it was all about. And eventually I ended up getting all the 3 Tekken games, Tekken 1 through 3 on the PS1.
But you play them on 3, PlayStation 3.
Yeah, I
Gotcha.
do.
Do they have? Do you know if they sell PS1s at that place?
I think so. Yeah, I did see some PS1s too and Nintendo 64s over there.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so cool.
That's our Jasmine.
I'm wondering, is like I know probably I haven't played Tekken 1, but we're probably rooting for Kazuya the whole game.
Yeah,
Are we?
Yeah, because of the whole history that was shown behind him. I mean, the whole intro was literally him punching the fire out of a candle to show that he's progressed through probably over his 20 years of training.
Gotcha.
So like he's considered a good guy.
Well, I guess so. He is considered like someone who is just willing to get revenge on that. He's more of a character that's just trying to fulfill his purpose and he's trying to fulfill his revenge
he's a good
against his
guy
father.
until he chucks his dad off the cliff. It's like, what is going on here?
Then it's like, are you better than are you better than your
Pops.
dad at this time? Yeah,
I guess so.
hurt
Yeah.
people hurt people.
Yeah, because that's like the build-up parts of Tekken 2, I think. Because like there is something called the Devil Gene that exists, but that's most likely in the later games afterwards because they further explain about what it is.
Yeah, you said it was like in his head or something, or am I wrong?
Well, he has a eye in his head.
Right.
It's because like the Devil Gene is something that is passed on. Okay, so I really wanted to talk about the prequel thing that was introduced in Tekken 7 that makes sense here for
yeah, go for it.
Tekken 1 because like there was this woman named Kazumi Harijo who got married to Heihachi and then they had a child and she says that Heihachi would become a big problem to the world because of the fact that he will take over the world and do something very terrible with the power that he's given from it. And she says that the Harijos exist to take down people who are having bad spirits like Heihachi. And so Heihachi has to fight his wife, and eventually, like, she does use the Devil Gene. Because the Harijo clan are the ones who have those, and then Kazuya was born after that, but he didn't know about this whole thing. but Kazumi tried to fight Heihachi to stop him once and for all and stop his reign of evil that might start. And Heihachi proves to be a complete completely, I guess, beats her, I guess. Like, Heihachi completely destroys her and then literally snaps her neck afterwards.
Wow.
Because after realizing it, because Heihachi ends up standing back up and then just says, "Oh, you're no longer the woman I like." So he snaps her neck and then just feels bad and literally cries, knowing exactly how terrible that he did right there. And eventually he ends up fighting Kazuya and also defeats his father, locking him up in a whole, like, I think dungeon in Horomaru, which is basically like the Mishima Shrine or something like that, because he wanted to take over his father's company, the Mishima Zaibatsu. It's basically like the strongest thing ever, stronger than the government or anything else like that as a whole. Because, and not only that, but like he kept training Kazuya. He didn't train Kazuya technically to become strong enough to take over the Mishima Zaibatsu. He did that because he threw him off of a cliff because he wanted to find out, do you have the devil gene or not that you got from your mother? So we ended up throwing him off of a cliff to make sure if he had the devil gene or not. And surprise, surprise, he definitely did, because the devil gene is only awakened when you're about to die or something like that. Because like when you die from if you get shot by a bullet and it kills you, the devil gene like brings you back from the dead.
Yeah, you were telling me that the other day. Okay, and that's still all in Tekken 1, or like it's progressed into like...
Yeah, it's like in the prequel part of Tekken 1, and it's shown in the first game, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Wait, so this company that Heihachi runs, that Kazuya is aiming to take over, it's kind of a shadow organization?
Well, not really. It's pretty much like the face of the things, and it's responsible for making the King of Iron Fist tournaments. Because, like, the Zaibatsu is known by everybody because it took over the world government and stuff. It has the power to even take over it and completely eliminate it if it wanted to. Like, it's, like, the best. Like, it's easily, like, the strongest government and the strongest, investment thing that is in with video games specifically.
Right on. Gameplay-wise.
Well...
Tekken 1...
Tekken 1
you played all of them.
Yeah, like...
So, it's like the foundation of the start, but gameplay-wise, obviously they're going to get better. But 4 being 1, is it good or is it, like, bad?
It's decent or something, because, like, I did play through it. It's not bad, but I feel like that the game itself is a little lackluster when it comes to its gameplay, because, I mean, most of the characters move quickly and fast, and they did make a bunch of versions of the game specifically, because Tekken doesn't start out as a console game. Like, it was always an arcade game first.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
They make... Yeah, because Japan gets the games early through arcades, and then Bandai starts making, like, the console versions of them a bit later. But because of the PS1's limitations, because back in the time, the gaming engines for those weren't completely strong enough to make games like that, so they had to make a few tweaks with it. And the gameplay is fine for whatever. I mean, you get to do the electric uppercuts and stuff that Kazuya does, and a bunch of the other characters as well have their own unique movesets as well. I think the game is fine for what it is, but I still personally prefer the other games over that one.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, they only get better too. Like with time, they're gonna get a little bit better. Then you get the joystick on the PlayStation. You know, that first one you were saying the other day, I forgot that their controllers originally just had pads.
That's because the PS1 back in the day didn't have, L and R sticks. They always had the D-pad. So if you wanted to put in a bunch of commands or inputs for fighting games, you always had to use the PS1 D-pad.
Still to this day, you're using it. You still use the pad. You don't use joystick.
I do. I use it now for Tekken 8 now.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right. Nice, man. All right. I feel like anything else you want to say? Because then we could, we could wrap up here, and then we can start kind of thinking about Tekken 2.
I would just say that I wouldn't mind. I would say that Tekken 1 was honestly a pretty good starting part of the series, and I think it's like, the series that started it all, and eventually, it leads to Bandai wanting to make more of them because they wanted to expand upon with the story.
Last question. Does Bandai still make Tekkens now? Like Tekken 8 and,
They did. Apparently, the creator of the series, Harada himself, said that Tekken 8 might be in, like, a few decades, like, because, Tekken 7, it took, like, we waited, like, probably 9 years now to get the 8th game in the series. and it probably because of development cycle, because of how expensive they were. And Harada himself and the people who were making the game said that it was kind of hard to make Tekken 8 because we had to make brand new models, because Tekken 7, while yeah, it was a good game with gameplay, it kind of, the quality of the game was pretty hit or miss sometimes.
Got you. All right, cool. Well, that, I feel like that wraps it up for episode 1. We kind of got a full dive into first game, Tekken 1. And this is going to be a series going forward with Henry. He's going to give us a deep dive, not only into Tekken, but we also have a few other games and a few other. We were talking about God of War the other day.
Yeah, God of War. And
I don't mind speaking about that. I really like that series too.
We got to get
Spider-Man
into God of War.
and
Spider-Man. There's going to be a few games. And then also we did another podcast with Mr. K last week, and Henry brought up movies, and it just went crazy in the podcast.
We're starting something.
We're doing something. We're doing something here.
We're doing
Henry.
a ting.
And yeah, dude. So, any last words, Henry?
I would just say that I don't mind. I really do like talking about video games and movies sometimes. I just like to hear people's opinions about them, and just bring up a conversation about other things too, like that.
Perfect. Couldn't have said it better myself. Cool. That's it for today's podcast, and say peace. Later.
Peace.
See you next time.